going to tie the chunky perch on this attachment now. This is dried off a wee bit. So I want to make a mix of fibre in a sort of perch colour. So I've got olives and sort of slightly lighter green in there. I'm going to take a little bit of this brown fibre and add that in too. So take my bunches. I'm going to take this slightly darker sort of a browny tan mix in as well. Put it off the same length. And then what I want to do is just keep grabbing the tips and pull it through itself. And that will blend our colours together. And also you end up without a block end. So come back to the rear of our fly, and in the core of it I usually put crystal hair. So take a few strands of crystal hair, tie them on, fold them back, cut them off. So at this we're going to be tying a fly that's about 6 inches long. So take our bunch, set it on and bind it tight across the middle. We can then fold all this back. Now, because of the shape of a perch, I'm trying to get a sort of a fattish wee bile, so I'm not going to tie over the top of this and bind it down tight. What I'm going to do is add a bit of super glue there. I'm going to pinch it flat so that I get height to my fly. Now, at this stage, we're going to start to think about some flash in there. There, do you see what we're doing? So I'm going to take some of my Lurex spools. I'm going to pick a pearl and an olive. I'm just going to set the spools on their end and pull off the fibre and wrap it down around my hand. Snap that off, and I'll end up with a blended bunch of pearl and olive. And set that on. I don't want this to go fully round. I'm looking at to sort of go across the top and slightly down the sides. Tie that in, fold it back, and the fibre will support the shape of that. So now we're going to create another bunch of our perch colour. By blending our same mix together, and I said you can vary that by adding other colours as you go along. I'm trying to get slightly darker as we go towards the front of the fly. So I'll take a bunch of that. All I'm going to do is take a bit of olive dubbing, and that'll allow me to travel 7 or 8 millimeters or so along the shank. Then I'll put on my bunch, get it right around, 5 or 6 wraps across the middle of it, fold it back, and what we're going to try and do is get slightly shorter in our bunches maybe as we go forward as well, so that we start to get more bulk and chunk towards the front of this thing. Set that with the super glue. Travel forward again. Take our bunch. Five or 6 turns. Fold it back on itself. As you can see, we're getting a fairly sort of a dense shape here. Glue that into position. I'm just going to pull these down and in to sort of try and, as before, set it flat. So that's our basic body. We'll get a bit more of our flash built in there, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of copper and a little bit of a gold to that for our mix. So we now have 4 tinsels in this mix. Wrap around my hand a bit. You can see I now have a loop with pearl, gold, copper and olive. Set that across our top. Tie it in and fold it back. Again, a little bit of glue. So, perch has a white belly. So we'll take the white fibre and I only really want it to come maybe about halfway along that, so what I'm going to do is take a length that's roughly twice what I want, because I'll be folding it back. I'm going to flip the fly towards me, tie this on so that it stays on the underside. Leave this pointing out. So we're going to take our previous perch coloured mix that we made. And this time I'm going to add a couple of other colours into it. So it's add in like a golden olive colour. And this darker olive coloured fibre. So as you can see, I have these bunches, and as before, just grabbing the tips with my finger and thumb of my left hand, pulling it through itself. You can blend it as much as you want, or you can leave it with big sort of blocks of stripes of colour through it. So we're going to end up with this colour mix. So we'll take a bunch of that. Set that on top. A few tight wraps, and then fold back the top bunch, fold back the bottom bunch, check what that looks like. Glue that like before, hold it in and down and up at the top. Hopefully you should start to see the sort of perch shape to this. I'm going to take some of our stuff that we used, the olive angel hair that we used to dub the body, and I'm going to set it on in a bunch instead. Fold it in. Now I'm going to take our dark olive, take a bunch of that, cut it off, and I'll take this sort of a browny, dirty blonde sort of colour, I suppose it is. It's got dark browns and blondes in it. Cut a bunch of that, so you can see I have these two colours, and I'm going to blend them. I'll end up with this darker sort of coloration, and that's going to be my back for this fly. I want to keep that on top. I don't want it to slip underneath. That bit will then be folded back. And then underneath we want another bit of white. This time I'm going to use a bit of Arctic Fox. So I'm going to tie that in hollow style, pointing forward, which will then be folded back. So turn the fly over, tie that in there. It's quite square of itself, so I'm just going to trim a little bit of taper into that. and perch fins. So you can use a little bit of fibre if you want, but what I find good for this is golden pheasant. Breast feathers, if they're dyed in a hot orange or something like that, makes nice. So this is a golden olive or a golden pheasant breast feather, and I'm going to put in 2 on each side. So I've got 2 laid on top of each other. I'm just going to put them in there. Fold those stalks back on themselves and trim them off. And then I'm going to do the same over here. You can use 1 feather if you want. This just gives it a little bit more depth of colour. Hold it back, trim it off, and now we're going to fold those 2 portions. Backwards. And the fur will get over the top of those feathers, don't worry about that. So, because when the thing gets wet, it'll all move anyway. So that's the basic tying of the fly done. What we want to do now is pull this back and then get it super glued and just keep it held back a little bit till it holds that shape. If you get some super glue in the eye, just clean it out. So that's the basic shape of our perch tied. What we can do is hold the fly up like that, and then take our scissors and just trim it into that perch shape. Can't trim from the front back, it doesn't seem to work. Works far better trimming this way. Sure. Basic fly tied. What I want to do now is take some pro markers. I want to do a bit of colouring in on this thing. So an emerald green here first, and just colouring in sort of wide bars. Along our fly. Take this one is a chestnut, and I'm going just behind our green and blending into it. head portion I'm going to colour in. As well. Now finally we take our black marker. I'm going to stay fairly wide on the top, tapering down and going through the middle of our green and brown. Stripe in there, thick at the top, tapering down as we go down. So then we come to this side, and if you've continued your black onto the top, then it's quite easy to sort of match it over onto the far side. And if you want, what you can do is take a red marker on the very tips of your white portion underneath here. You can colour in red, and that's to sort of match up with the extra fins that we've got further down, sort of to match these front pectorals here. Now, all that remains is to put eyes on this thing. Perch red eyes. Two of these things. Evo stick serious glue. Just put a blob of glue on the back of the eye. Stick that on the side and do the same for the other side. Fly. Wet your finger, shape the glue back onto that slightly. Hopefully you'll agree that we have something fairly like a chunky bee perch.